we busy being busy? Are we busy being productive is the question, right? That's what we should ask ourselves. Hey, I know you're hardworking people. You guys are out and about all day long. You guys are working 10, 11, 12, 14-hour days sometimes. Not do I need to work longer, but do I need to work differently, right? Everybody says work smarter, not harder. What the frick does that even mean? These sayings where people say, you need to bring value. How the f do I bring value, Vikram? You need to do this. How do I do that? Stop telling me what I need to do. Start telling me how I need to do it. What are you doing right now? Oh, we're doing nothing. Okay. What do you think's going to happen? Probably bad things. Do we want bad things? No. Okay, let's take action. One of the big challenges that real estate agents have is that they were never taught, right? Like your sales training in real estate was very basic, if any. The MLS doesn't teach you any sales. They teach you how to use the MLS and they teach you how to pay the dues. Your broker is teaching you things from 40 years ago. God bless his and her heart. They mean well, but they don't know the new tools necessary because they're not salespeople. They're managers of people. That's why they're the broker of your office and not the high producer of your office. They're great to ask contract questions. They're great to say, hey, how do we do Form 77,000? Hey, how do we stay in compliance? Salespeople, we tend to get out of compliance. We tend to bend rules. I'm not the greatest at that, but I know enough because I've done enough transactions to keep me out of trouble, but I also know how to play the line. Your broker's going to say, don't play the line, don't play the line. I'm like, look, we got legal counsel for people like me. I want to make sales, baby, let's go. Real estate agents ask the wrong question. Don't ask me how many times you should follow up. Say, Vikram, how do I follow up? Let's unpack that. This is a huge topic and it's a huge problem. The average consumer, the average prospect converts after 7 touches. 7 touches. Now, I want you to be honest, and I want you to think about how many times do you call the average prospect in your database? 1 to 3 times, 3 to 5 times, 7 times plus, under 1 time. Here's industry average from NAR, 1.4 times, which means the average agent, right? The average agent is calling less than 2 times. Why is this so important? Well, we know from stats that the average prospect converts after 7 tries. Why do we only put 1.4 effort in? I know you're hardworking people. You guys are out and about all day long. You guys are working 10, 11, 12, 14-hour days sometimes. But are we busy being busy? Are we busy being productive is the question, right? That's what we should ask ourselves. Hey, not do I need to work longer, but do I need to work differently, right? Everybody says work harder, smarter, not harder. What the frick does that even mean? Like, I hate all these terms and these sayings where people say, you need to bring value. How the fuck do I bring value, Vikram? You need to do this. How do I do that? Stop telling me what I need to do. Start telling me how I need to do it. So the question we should be asking is not how many times do we need to follow up, because we already know that question. The question is, how do we follow up? How do we follow up to win? And I'm going to share something that I share with my top clients. I can't believe I'm going to share this with you guys, but it's so dang good that I have to share it with you, right? This is one of the things that took us from being a, $15, $20 million a year team to a $40, $50, $60 million team, going from a few $100,000 in commissions to going over $1 million in commission year after year after year after year. And it's the same thing that I work with people in the wellness industry. I used to own a business called OsteoStrong. And it's the same thing. It's called the calendar, right? My mentor, business partner, actually good friend, now the president of Real Brokerage, which I'm a part of, calls it the calendar close. But I just called it the timeline, right? We create a timeline and we reverse engineer everything. So Mrs. Jones, I'll give you guys an example in the wellness industry, OsteoStrong. People came in and they said, Vikram, the reason we're here today is because, we have osteopenia, and we're scared that we're going to get osteoporosis and we don't want to take the drugs, but we also don't know if your system's going to work. It's kind of expensive, blah, blah, blah. I said, no problem. I just get out a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper, I'd put January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and I'd put a couple of years because it's a long-term thing. And I'd put year 1, year 5, year 7, year 10. And I said, okay, if we continue down the path, let's go to 10 years and you do nothing, right? And what happens in 10 years? And then they start talking about all the pain. 9 years, 7 years, 6 years, 5 years. And we go all the way back to today. I said, now today we have a choice. We know what's going to happen in 10 years. Today we know what we can do right now. If it doesn't work, at least you know that if you try it today, you do it for a few years because it was a long-term thing, You do it for a few years. If you see no results, then you can go do the medical stuff. And in 10 years, you'll still be better than where you're at now, right? They said probably. So what do we want to do? You guys, using the calendar to close is amazing. So how do we use it for follow-up, right? In real estate. And we used to follow up with people. Hey, if they didn't sign up today, hey, what are you doing right now? Oh, we're doing nothing. Okay. What do you think's going to happen based off the timeline we created 6 weeks ago? We don't know. Probably bad things. Do we want bad things? No. Okay, let's take action. And we could always make our follow-up call based off of the calendar. You guys see where I'm going with this? If not, don't worry, right? This is a little bit of a big topic here. We train on this for hours and hours and hours. We role play this inside the Growth Academy. Every week we role play something on Monday. And we role play the calendar close quite often because it's such a powerful way to create a timeline. So you're talking to a buyer. We're going to talk buyers right now because everybody thinks sellers are the God's gold. Sellers are God's gold in a seller's market. Sellers become a very large anchor and burden to a real estate agent who's not able to communicate the pricing strategies appropriately to a seller. Because what happens is in a buyer's market, listings sit 40 days, 50 days, 60 days, 90 days. And you as the agent don't know what to say to the client. So you say nothing, or you don't know how to communicate a price reduction because you have fear of losing the listing. So then the agent gets no contact or the agent doesn't contact the client. And it just becomes this very bad situation. So we don't want to do that. Listings in a buyer's market have a 50 to 60% chance of failing with the first agent. You guys should write that down. So when everybody says list to last, yes, in a seller's market, listings are gold. In a buyer's market, you need buyers because listings are going to get the crap knocked out of them. And oftentimes they're not going to sell. And if your skill level is like a 5 or a 6, especially with the listing, and you kind of buy the listing because you didn't learn my processes on how to strategize, right? You didn't learn the 3 truths in pricing strategy where we talk about how to price a listing, aspirational pricing, perceived market value, event pricing. You're going to get smashed. It's just going to happen. You're going to get smashed. And it's going to suck because you're going to be like, well, everybody told me list to last. So let's go back to the calendar close for buyers, okay? Because you need a big pipeline of buyers right now. Buyer says, hey, we're not ready to buy. And you're like, awesome, no problem. When, I'm curious, is this like a Q1, a Q3, a Q4 project? Or you could say something, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, I'm curious, is buying a home like a now thing, like a mid-year thing, or an end of the year thing, right? Because we're starting the year out now. Most people aren't buying in December. The boat's kind of sailed if you haven't been working with somebody. There's very few people that are going to start looking at this time of the year, right? It just is what it is. But this is pipeline building time. This is audit your systems time. This is improve your scripts time. This is improve your skills time, right? This is, hey, I need to hire a coach time. This is the time you do that. So Mr. and Mrs. Buyer say, look, we're looking to buy a home, Vikram, probably like Q2. So we don't need to meet with you now, right? And if they say they don't want to meet with you, and you use all of the right questions and you say all the right things and they still push you off, you say, great, no problem. Let's do this. Let's build a calendar of events, right? Let's just spend 30 seconds to a minute here, build out your calendar, because a lot of my top clients didn't realize what it takes to buy a home in today's competitive market where things are changing. And they're like, oh, so you would say this, don't change these words. Don't change these words, write these down. Would you be opposed? Right? Would you be opposed? That's like the greatest question you can ask. Would you be opposed to us creating a quick timeline so that we're all on the same page and I can hold you guys to your goals of being in a house in June? 9 out of 10 are going to say, no, we wouldn't be opposed. People want to say no, so we're giving them the opportunity to say no. So they're going to say, no, I wouldn't be opposed. Awesome. So you want to be in your house, let's say June 1st. Yep, cool. And are you guys taking out a mortgage or are you paying cash? Now, they might have already answered this question, but just have them answer it again because it allows them to sell themselves on why they should sit down with you. They're going to say 9 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10, depending on your market, 7 out of 10. They're going to say, no, of course, we need a mortgage. Great. Most mortgages in today's market are taking anywhere from 30 to 60 days to get the file through all the processes, get the underwriter, get the appraisal done, and all the other things that are necessary. If there's some repairs that need to get done to the home, whatever. And they're going to be like, oh, well, I thought it wasn't such a long process. Yes, we typically get it done in 30 days. However, I always say that in a market like this, it's changing. We need a little bit more time just as a buffer to be safe. So if we use a 60-day timeline, that means we should have identified your home and got it under contract, which means that everybody's agreed to the price that you want, the terms that you want, and the home that you want. And so that's going to put us back 2 months. So that's going to be January, February, March, April. Okay, so we need to be identified your home and under contract around April 1st to April 15th. And they're going to be like, oh, really? Wow, we didn't realize that. And then you're going to say, now what we need to do is how fast do you think you guys can buy a home? Like I know in 2021 and 2022, you could take 3 days because you're just trying to get anything. I'm going to be like, yeah, that's true. But now there are more homes on the market, which means you have more options, which means you could actually find your dream house. Whereas in 2022, you had to take what you could get. So this is a huge opportunity for buyers that nobody's talking about, which is crazy. You have an opportunity. Like, oh, really? Wow. I didn't realize that. So now we're going to take that and we're going to say, how long do you think you're going to need to shop for? And they're going to say, I don't know. What do you think? Well, normally most of my clients like to shop for anywhere from 30 to 60 days. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense because there's more homes on the market. Now, when you guys sit down and do a buyer consultation with them, you really should be able to drill them down to 10 houses. Like, you really shouldn't show more than 10 homes, but that's another story altogether. But really, like, you should show like 10 houses and then you, boom, send them on their way. So now we've got them 2 months and then 2 months, which is 4 months. So now they're like, oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, how long do you think it's going to take to get your financing in order? Have you sat down and talked with a financial professional about your guys' mortgage and how to get the best rate, how to buy rates down, right? Like what the down payment, where the money's coming from? No. Oh, okay. Well, that typically takes anywhere from, 7 to 15 days to get pre-approved and underwritten and all of your files taken care of. So we really, like, 6 months really means we should meet like in the middle of January to the beginning of February. And then I'll introduce you to my financial people so that you guys can get your loan paperwork started, because there's a lot of stuff over there. And you don't want to stress and rush this, do you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? No, we don't. It's already super stressful. Like, I don't know when the last time you bought a home was, but it's super stressful. And I'm like, oh, it really? Like, it's been like 7 or 8 years. Yeah, it's totally changed. There's a lot more paperwork, a lot more deadlines, a lot more scrutiny, blah, 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 blah. So why don't we do this? We can either sit down now, or why don't we just schedule an appointment for January, first week, second week, once you guys are back in the flow of things away from the holidays. And what I'll do is I'll send you out a couple of reminders and boom, we'll book the appointment today. And then I'll just remind you. And if anything changes in your calendar between now and, January 5th or whatever day you book, we'll just reschedule for a little bit later on in the month. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. And now we go from, hey, I'll just follow up with you in January. I'll follow up with you in February. I'll follow up with you in March, and then I'll never talk to you again, to actually having a reason to call. Because I can promise you, nobody else has taken the time to educate them on this topic. Nobody else has taken the time to create a roadmap for them. Nobody else has shown them that it can take anywhere from 3 to 4, 5 months to get prepared. If they have a little bit of credit issues, I had a doctor, real story, I had a doctor, super awesome guy. He was like the most credit worthy person you can imagine. Made $500,000 a year, super frugal, right? At his job for a couple of years, totally qualified. He had, from his wife's name, that they don't even know how it happened, but she had like a $17 Nordstrom's charge card that somehow ended up in collections from like 6 years ago. That was on her credit, not the husband's, the wife's. We did, they were doing all the credit checks, everything. They had an 800 credit score. She had a 750. They never showed up. We get the house under contract. This is like 2013, 14. We get the house under contract. Final underwriting pulls it and finds that there's a delinquency from like 4 or 5 years ago and puts a kibosh on everything. Like, how crazy was that? Like, we were through the whole thing, short sale. We got everything taken care of. It was such a tedious process, and they got a kibosh on their credit from 5-year-old thing, right? So these are stories that you tell the buyers, like, hey, sometimes things just show up that we don't even know about when we're the most diligent people. We pay our taxes on time. We're never late for credit. we pay this, we do that. Oh, and then the other thing he did was he went out and bought a car because the process took longer than expected. He went out and bought a car after we fixed the credit thing a week before our second closing date. So we had to take care of that and show the lender that, hey, he's a doctor. He makes a ton of money. Like he went from a $300 payment to a Tesla, which was like a $1,200 payment. They freaked out, right? I was like hours and hours with the lender. You tell these horror stories to the buyer because you need to get in front of them early so that you guys can create a plan. And they typically don't need as much time to purchase because once you sit down with them and you lay out the process and the plan and how it all works, they're like, oh, well, we're actually ready to buy now. Why do we need to wait till July when there's more competition? Like, let's buy in January when everybody's sitting at home covered in snow. Let's go look at all the houses that have been sitting for months and months and months. Let's go make a crazy, stupid offer on 5 of them. And now you guys get the term you want, the price you want, the house that you want. So if you're in real estate and if you are challenged with follow-up, it's because it's not that you don't know how to follow. It's not that you don't know how many times to follow up. We know 7. We don't know what to say on those 7 tries. So now every time you call them, hey, it's January. This is our timeline. Oh, guys, it's February. This is our timeline. Hey, it's March. We are getting close to the finish line here, y'all. We haven't even started the process yet. We need to get our underwriting. We need to do this. We need to do this. Right? And you start throwing stuff at them. And then you guys use the infamous line, would you be opposed to like sitting down for 15 to 20 minutes so we can actually create the game plan? I doubt you'll need to get to 5 calls, right? 6 calls, 7 calls, right? But this is the stuff we teach inside the Real Estate Growth Academy. This is a little piece of what we do. Obviously, I can't give everything to you guys because I just don't have the time, but we role play how to talk. You guys would be shocked at seeing some of the top producers in your community when they actually have to say the things the right way. Like you'd be surprised the first few times they're a little rusty, just like you will be. But these are the things we teach inside the Real Estate Growth Academy. If you're interested in learning more about what we do to help real estate agents just like you make more money, make more sales, take more market share, build a brand for success and predictable growth, just drop a comment below and me or my team will get back to you with the next steps. And we'll love to see you guys crush 2023. I hope this helps. If it did, share it with a friend because this is how we win. Have a great day. Peace.